You know that person who gets really quiet when something's wrong? Not cold, not angry, just gone. Still physically present, still nodding, still saying, "I'm fine." But something behind their eyes has retreated somewhere you can't reach. Yeah, that's not indifference. That's a coping mechanism so deeply wired it happens before they even decide to use it. Here's what most people get wrong about quiet people in pain. They assume the silence is a wall, something designed to keep you out. But it's not. It's actually the opposite. It's a room they've locked themselves inside of them, and they're not sure they deserve to be let out yet. Let's talk about where this comes from, because it doesn't appear out of nowhere. For most of these people, expressing pain once led to a consequence. Maybe they cried and got told to stop being dramatic. Maybe they opened up and the person they trusted either minimized it, disappeared, or used it against them later. So their nervous system did what nervous systems do. It learned. It built a pattern. Pain goes inward. Silence is safer than exposure. Psychologists call this emotional suppression, and the research on it is uncomfortably clear. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who habitually suppress emotional expression don't feel less. They actually feel more intensely. They've just gotten terrifyingly good at hiding it. And here's where it gets complicated. The quieter they go, the more they convince themselves they're fine. Silence becomes a story they tell themselves. I'm handling it. I'm okay. I don't need to burden anyone. They've practiced this story so many times, it feels like the truth.
Until 2 a.m., when it doesn't anymore. But here's something that'll surprise you. These same people are often the most perceptive in any room. Because when you spend years learning to hide your own pain, you become an expert at reading others. They notice the shift in your voice before you do. They catch the thing you didn't say. They feel the weight of a room changing the way some people feel weather coming. They developed this not as a gift, but as a survival tool. When your emotions weren't safe to express, you learn to read the environment obsessively. Is this person safe? Is this moment safe? Can I exist here without consequence? Now here's the painful irony. The very thing that makes them so attuned to others is what makes them invisible to themselves. They're so practiced at monitoring everyone else's emotional landscape that they lose track of their own. They'll notice you're off before you've said a word, but ask them how they're doing, and they'll genuinely pause, not for effect, because they actually don't know. They stopped checking in with themselves a long time ago. It felt less complicated that way. And relationships? This is where it gets messy. People who go quiet when they're hurting often attract people who need them to be strong. Not intentionally, just naturally. Their calm in a storm looks like strength. Their self-containment looks like stability. So everyone leans on them, and nobody thinks to look underneath. They become the person everyone calls when things fall apart. And when their own things fall apart, they call nobody. Because somewhere along the way, they decided that their pain was less urgent, less valid, less deserving of space than everyone else's.
This is what psychologists call the caretaker wound. The quiet ones often grew up in environments where their job was to manage the emotional climate around them, not create more weather of their own. But here's what rarely gets said. The silence isn't strength. It looks like it functions like it, but underneath it is usually someone exhausted from years of carrying things alone, someone who learned that asking for help was either pointless or dangerous, someone who deeply, quietly, desperately wants to be asked twice. Because they'll say, "I'm fine," the first time, every time. But if you ask again, genuinely, slowly, without rushing past the answer, something in them shifts. The door doesn't fly open, but it unlocks. That's what they're waiting for. Not a rescue, just proof that someone noticed they went quiet. There's a grief in this too. They grieve the version of themselves that spoke freely, that cried without shame, that reached out without calculating the risk first. They grieve the ease of it. The way they watch other people fall apart openly and feel a strange, confusing mixture of judgment and envy, because they forgot that falling apart is allowed. The real psychology here isn't about weakness or damage. It's about adaptation. These people learned to survive in environments where softness had a cost, and they paid that cost.